So I have no plans for this video except to show you a little hair tutorial for what I think is going to be trending in fall 2024. To just kind of chit chat with you guys about like my anxiety. I've been sharing a little bit over on my Instagram. If you don't follow me over there, I post over there like almost every single day, but I thought I would just give you an update on my anxiety, what I struggle with, what's helped me, and what I'm working on, all while doing our hair. So I saw this trend, especially going into fall. When I think of beachy waves like this, I think of like summer mermaid hair. But for fall, it's not that crisp wave. It's more of a messy, lived-in wave. So this is what we're gonna be using today to wave my hair. This one I got in Ulta, and actually I think everything I'm gonna use today can be found at Ulta. So I will leave it in the description box below. And my camera keeps falling down, so maybe this will work out. So I've already put some heat protectant in my hair. I love this. So what we're gonna do with the waver is just wave my whole head, and I'll kind of go step by step while chatting with you guys. So over on my Instagram, I've been sharing that this past week has just been a really hard week with my anxiety. I don't really know what's triggering it other than feeling a little bit of rejection. So the first thing I'm gonna do with my hair is just section it, and I'm gonna start with this section first. Ooh, green.
Great.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome, baby. So I'm gonna take this first little section of hair, and with my waver, I'm just going to clamp at the very root as close as I can to my head, and you can see by the barrel how it waves. It's just gonna give you a little wave. You only have to hold it on there for like a few seconds, and then you're gonna move the barrel down to where the last wave ended. You see like the pattern here? It doesn't have to be perfect, but I found that if you keep the strands really flat to the barrel and not make a huge chunk of hair, that it just does better because it's heating all the strands of hair. So see how this is waved right here? At the very bottom where this last wave was is where I'm gonna place the wave. So it's just one consistent wave. So anxiety is something that I have always struggled with. I even had a postpartum anxiety. Now that I'm thinking about it, it came out then. Big life changes can always make me super anxiety filled to the point where I get restless legs, like my body starts to react to the stress that I'm feeling. So I started feeling that way this week, and I'm not really sure what triggered it until I was watching this podcast on YouTube talking about dreams and how if you have reoccurring dreams, they're linked back to being really stressed out. And that's exactly what was happening to me. I was having this dream continuously of being rejected. I had this dream 3 times last week. Every time I had the dream, I eventually woke up to thinking, no, I'm okay. I have Adam, I have my boys, I'm okay. And then when I finally realized that in my dream, I would say, oh, this is a dream, and I would wake up. But the theme, I was talking to my mom about this, and my mom said, the reoccurring dream that I'm having is all about rejection. And she's like, where are you feeling rejected in your life? And I started really thinking about some things that maybe were hurting my feelings or bothering me or not rubbing me the right way. And one of the things was with a friendship recently. I know this person loves me. I know I love this person, that's my friend. But there's some things that have went on that I just feel like really rejected. Like just spending time and effort with this person, and I just feel like I've been rejected. And I won't go into great detail, but I do feel a little bit of rejection in this friendship. And mom was like, how can you see what they're going through too? Maybe their behavior is because they're going through stuff, which is very true. Like sometimes we get in these panics or feel a certain type of way about people and things when we have to look at it through their perspective. Like, what are they going through? Maybe they're looking at me thinking, I should be reaching out more. I should be doing more. It was one thing that opened up my eyes to like, yeah, I'm definitely feeling rejected in friendship right now. But what is the truth of it? The truth is that we have our own lives going on. We have our own things we're worried about. And so that is one way that I was feeling rejected. Now we're going on to the next layer just to show you up close again. See how the wave is going. We're gonna take this and end it on this wave don't hold it there for very long because you don't want to burn your hair, and you can see it takes just a few seconds. So just take care of your hair. If I repeat myself over and over, heat protectant, don't leave your hair in the hot tool for very long. And also, it doesn't have to be perfect, but for this look, but you can see already how it's giving me like this really pretty wave. I love it. Another thing that I noticed was that I love coffee. I love coffee. And when I say I love coffee, I love all sorts of coffee. I like it black. I like it with creamer, all sorts of coffee, okay? One thing I noticed is that when I have a lot of coffee, which I tend to do, and my anxiety is bad, I get even worse up here. So I've been trying my best to slow my roll and not have coffee after 2 p.m., especially after 2 p.m. because then I'm just up all night. But another thing is to drink water. And I've been trying and I'm not the best at it. But putting a hydration pack in there and trying to get some water in has really helped me. I definitely can feel my heart rate not going as high. When you have anxiety, you feel like you want to crawl out of your skin. So trying to be mindful of that. So far, I've tried to look at other people's perspective. Second is to slow down on my coffee because anxiety is not only internal, but it can also come out like in my restless legs and in my heart rate or whatever, So if you're struggling with anxiety, try to cut back the caffeine in general. But I was like, okay, what other places in my life am I feeling rejection after I had that talk with my mom? And another place that I'm kind of feeling rejected is just in work and job area, and I can't really pinpoint what it is. I think it's because I don't have clear goals. I have big overarching goals, but they almost seem so big that it's hard to tackle the small task. And that's just how my brain is. I can make a plan, but it's also sometimes feels so overwhelming that I don't do anything, and that's the worst part about it. And then when you're feeling anxiety on top of it, all you want to do is crawl up in your bed and not get out. Like, I was talking to my friend Amanda. She actually brought it up first that she was having a really bad week of anxiety for different reasons, and I was telling her I was too, and how we both just wanted to stay in bed and not get out. And that, for me, is not the solution because it only makes me feel worse. So getting my body moving, get on the treadmill with my neighbor just for like 30 minutes just to get my body moving, and it truly did help. But really, all I wanted to do was get back in bed because I just felt so overwhelmed. So I think feeling rejection in friendship parts of my work or goals is contributing to this anxiety. My brain is really trying to reconcile my anxiety. It's trying to say, yes, you feel rejection in this area, but what are you grateful for? What is bringing you peace and calm, and what is good in your life? And I think that's also a good thing to reflect on because we can really lose sight of what's important. And I hope you know when I'm saying like we, I'm meaning like me. I'm not preaching at you or telling you like what you should do, but I'm just trying to share kind of how I'm feeling and what I'm doing to combat how I'm feeling, so that maybe someone out there that's feeling kind of the same way is able to relate and maybe find that it helps you too. Also, I don't know if you deal with this, but when I am feeling this way and feeling anxious, I start remembering the past of like all the times that I've failed, all the times I've been embarrassed, all the times like my most embarrassing moments, my least proud moments of like who I was or what I did, and even like goofy stuff, like goofy, embarrassing moments, and they just kind of play in my head over and over. That is also very interesting to me because I've recently realized that is a reoccurring thing that happens when I feel anxiety, is like my brain is also trying to remind me of times where negative things happened, probably to keep me from making a mistake or like protecting me. It's like my brain's way of protecting me. But it's actually hindering me because at some point I remembered those and like made a change, or I remembered those and thought, oh, I'm never going to embarrass myself like that again. And it helped me for that time. But now I don't need to remember things that happened in 3rd grade where I was super embarrassed, like waving at someone who didn't wave back to me, who was waving to someone behind me. Like, I don't need to remember that. When I'm having those kind of thoughts, it's really hard to get it under control because it can feel like an unwanted thought that I want to disregard, but your mind is just throwing it to the forefront for you to remember. So during those moments, I've been trying to be really mindful and like, where am I presently? What is going on around me? What are some physical senses? Like, what am I smelling? What am I touching? What am I doing? And bringing me back into the moment instead of letting the past hinder me. I think it's good that we learn from the past and that we remember it, but we don't have to dwell on it and let it interrupt our daily lives, especially when you're already feeling down about different areas of your life. So that's something like I'm trying to get a rein on. Another thing that just has been giving me anxiety that I've talked to so many girlfriends about is like feeling hopeless, feeling like you have no direction, or like just being confused on which direction to take. And that's me right now. I'm the latter. Like, what direction do I take in my life? I'm in this transitional period of being a mother and a wife. It all happened really fast, and taking care of my babies who need me, and then also like, who am I and who do I want to become? And I did a birthday post, and in my caption I'm like, I'm morphing the person that I am to the person that I want to be, and I want to be a better version of myself always. So this is an area in my life like I got to take the reins on and help myself instead of just letting my feelings override everything, because truly I have air in my lungs, I'm breathing, my family's okay, and I have faith that everything works out the way it's supposed to. Okay, the hair is looking good. I'm excited. So let's keep going with the next layer. So this past week I posted a prayer, kind of like, I'll pop it in right here so you can read it for yourself. But I posted this prayer and I had a lot of people respond to it saying like they were struggling. Something I saw that resonated with me, something that I needed to hear, so I popped that prayer up. And I had a friend message me and she said that she's going through something right now. She didn't elaborate on what, but she said that her mom just tells her to keep praying and keep having faith. I wrote her back and I was like, I could not agree more. And it's really discouraging when you're praying and you're praying and you're praying for a sign, for anything, for help, and you feel like no one's listening, no one's there, like God is just being radio silent. When you desperately need the help or want to hear from God, it's like very hard when you don't. And I told my friend that's similar to how I was feeling, especially when you're continuously praying, you're already praying, and they're like, all you need to do is pray. And you're like, yeah, but I'm like not hearing anything. During those times, I have to remind myself, one, getting back into scripture and reading and paying attention to what the word says is there for a reason for times like this. And two, just because we're not hearing anything or we don't feel like we're hearing anything, maybe it's a test to see what your character is, what you do during the moments where you feel like God is silent, or you're waiting on a prayer and it's not a yes and it's not a no yet. Like, what are you doing in the meantime? And so I decided during the meantime of my prayers that I was going to keep praying, one, and two, get in the scripture and just absorb as much as I can and find those little pieces of hope where I can find it. So just talk to God and tell him like exactly how I'm feeling, because I do think it's that easy to do. It's just to tell him how you're feeling. I also believe that God has given us our brain to think through things, to think logically, and also to work through problems. During this season of quietness from God, I've decided that I'm going to take action. But, I believe that God also gives us the capability to work things out ourselves as well, like with his help. But he gave us a brain and he gave us intuition and things like that, so we can work through things ourselves too with the help of him. But we have to do some work. Like, we can't just stay in our bed and be bedridden and just be like, God help us, God help us, God help us. It's like, no, you need to get up and walk. Keep asking for God's help, but get up and get going, and let's make moves. If this was a season where things are going to be quiet and I'm not sure about my direction, I'm just going to follow through with a plan. So I got a notebook and paper out, and I just started writing down my goals, and I started contacting people with those goals. And I also reached out to my friend where I was feeling a little bit rejected to check in on them, because I want to extend the grace that I want to others. Like, I can't not be the person I am because I'm like, oh, they should be reaching out to me or whatever. Like, no, I'm not that person anymore, and I'm going to make an effort because I do care, and that's just who I am. So I'm not going to let anyone else or any bad advice tell me like, oh, leave them or do this or whatever. Like, it doesn't warrant that. It's not that deep. It's truly not. Like, let me check in on my friend. Like, I don't know what's going on with them, and I know they're in a rough season. Like, I want people to check in on me. Let me check in on them, you know? I made a list that I was going to check in on my friend, and then I was also going to check in on some other friends of mine that have just been really, really there for me lately and have taken my phone calls, and I try to make sure to tell them like how much they mean to me and how great of a friend they are, and I'm really appreciative of it. And female friendship to me is so important, especially when you're a mom and when you're a wife. Like, you need those girlfriends because you're going through so much already. Like, you need women in your life. So immediately after writing the goals down, I'm taking action and I'm following through with the plan. What do I need to do this week? What do I need to do today? What do I need to do this hour? And go from there. Instead of laying in my bed, pushing through and making things happen. And I do believe in rest. I do believe there are times where you need to rest. But for me, I'm bouncing off the walls. I can't sleep at night. I'm pacing the hallway. So let me get this energy out in a very productive way by not only helping me, but helping others. You follow me on Instagram, you saw where it was my birthday in July, and I had some goals that I want to do this year. And one of them is to just continuously to help people. And what that looks like. A friend of mine told me two things before. One, where your heart aches is where you should be. So right now, where my heart aches is for women that don't have community, especially mothers. A lot of us, especially on my Instagram, a lot of us live so far away from our families, and we're doing it by ourselves, and we have to be the community to each other. And so I am trying to do like a meetup, not like a meet and greet. That's not what I mean. Like a meetup where women can connect with women and we can start being the community that we desperately need. So that is another thing that's like on my heart. And a friend of mine giving me that little piece of advice was true. Like, that's where my heart is, and that's where I need to be. That's what I feel like my calling is. And what that looks like, I don't know, but I just know I need to make steps forward to where I feel like I'm kind of being called. The second thing that a friend told me was, when there is a need, there will be greed. So when I step into this role of giving back and trying to do what I can for my community, but also like you guys on here, you feel like my family, and things that I'm doing to try to give back to you guys as also like an internet community, there will always be someone that tries to taint the goodness you do. Like the what's that saying? No good deed goes unpunished. And so you just have to remember, when you're giving back, there's going to be greed. Where there's a need, there will be greed. So far, here is my head. Looks really good. I love it. It looks like effortless. That didn't take me long at all, and I've just been chit-chatting with you guys, so I could have probably done this even faster. and the trend is like to be really messy. So what I'm gonna do, you can use dry shampoo. I like the Living Proof to kind of fluff it, or you can do a texturizing spray. And I love this one. This is, I'll link all of this below, so we won't even worry about that. So I'm gonna just spray this and kind of like just mess it up and make it even more like unkept, but still looks good. So I'm just gonna take a few pieces sporadically, clamp it a little bit so there's not really any straight pieces. Okay, here is what it looks like touched up. I'm really happy with it. I think it's really pretty and just something different and looks effortless and really easy to do. So very, very in love with this waver. So thank you for staying for this little chit chat, but I wanted to leave you with something that really helped me this past week, and that is a Bible verse. It is 2 Chronicles 15:7. But as for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. And just the notes that I have on this verse is to keep in the battle, don't throw in the towel, keep living for God, faithfulness will be rewarded. And I wanted to make this video just so you know that you're not alone, and I'm thinking about you, and I hope that you have a better week, because I am determined to take control of my thoughts and have a better week myself, and I hope the same for you. So I will see you in the next one.